Peter Forsberg, the legend from the Avalanche. I've been a longtime AEW fan, but this has been a couple of rough episodes in a row. So sick of Jericho and his theme song. Him and everything the JAS touches has been so stale. The main event was not good. Uno has go-away heat for me, and Moxley almost went a whole segment without bleeding. Are you guys hyped up for Revolution? On a positive note, love your content. Well, thank you, Peter Forsberg.
Number 21.
96 Stanley Cup winner. Yes, well, Mr. Forsberg, I think Revolution will be a very good show. Am I hyped for it?
No,
I wouldn't say I'm hyped for the show. Even though I look at it as a very good show on paper, all AEW pay-per-views are great on paper.
is there something that's so special about this particular show that I think elevates it that much more above a typical edition of Dynamite? There is, but not to the level of previous shows. And I wonder if we're still feeling that CM Punk effect of him not being there.
And probably another pay-per-view that's not going to top the prior years. Revolution last year, it had Punk and MJF and Hangman Page against Adam Cole, and that it did very well for them. And I can't sense 10 days out, there 11 days, that this show is going to outdo last year's Revolution. They would need a really big week next week. But to me, MJF and Danielson, it's been a fine program for the build it has. It promises to probably be a great match as well. But to me, it has not hit in terms of a marquee big main event that's going to do big business for AEW on pay-per-view. Like it feels like a fine first title defense for MJF. But I would say Danielson does feel cooler than when he came into AEW overall. Like that first initial blitz when he's coming in, that I think him challenging for the title would have been so red hot as a pay-per-view program against whoever the champion was.
And is that a problem with the storytelling? Theoretically, the more TV time you have to tell, to put Bryan Danielson in the spotlight, he should be hotter. What does that tell you?
Yeah, I guess you can look at just where, like, you're watching this, like the audience is behind him, but like, am I on my own here? Do you sense differently? Like, I just don't feel like if you were to do, and granted, some of that is like the newness of Bryan Danielson, but when he faced Kenny Omega at Grand Slam, had they put that on pay-per-view, I feel like that would have just been a huge match as Danielson's first match in, even his first couple of months in going for a title on pay-per-view that, maybe he will prove us wrong and we're underestimating his drawing ability because he hasn't been put in a position to carry a pay-per-view like this one with MJF.
Yeah, I think the promos have been good, but the story has had several chapters and it almost feels like it's something different every single week. So I was glad that Brian gave us a bit of a reset by kind of recapping all the elements that have gone into this storyline so far. But, maybe going more to your point, John, earlier in your criticism of this MJF thing, he's sort of been introducing different things almost every single week. For one of those weeks, it was like him getting into a darker side of himself. Remember that? Like for a couple of weeks, he was like suggesting getting into a different MJF, like almost and I don't know if that's still in play or not. Like last week, we've had the arm story, and this week now it's about psychologically attacking him with his children. So it's been
it also seems like he is making a very concerted effort that none of his stuff is going to be taken as an opening for the audience to cheer him, which to his credit, they are not. Like, this is a guy that has become such a great heel that it's hard to stay a villain, but he is doing that with these promos and going into all of this territory that it seems designed to make you uncomfortable when he's talking about like ending his life.
What's been better for you, this program, MJF and Bryan, or MJF and Mox?
I would say MJF and Moxley.
And what was different about it? Because I don't think you got much out of Mox in that program. Like, it felt like a kind of a disjointed program in a way. Because
I think you had the idea of MJF as this breakout babyface that could come out of this. And if there's anything to learn from WWE right now, it is the difference between a company that has red hot babyfaces that are chasing and are going for that. I would not put Danielson in that level of where a Cody and a Sami Zayn are, and I certainly believe MJF could have been if they had made that decision to go in the babyface direction with MJF.
So is it more a problem with, I think, the level of, character and that Bryan Danielson is?
I don't think anyone sees Danielson as the guy that is going to be unseating MJF or is going to be that babyface to end this. And that's a combination of this is early in MJF's run. And I think it's also just that timing of Danielson. Like, I wouldn't be making that choice, like, for Danielson to... There was a time I would have put the belt on Danielson. And maybe it was when Punk left and they did that tournament last summer and we were talking about Danielson as the replacement. But at this moment, like, I just don't feel the Danielson run, and I think that sort of tells people, like, they're not... I don't sense a clamoring for Danielson to finally win this AEW championship. Like, I don't get that sense at all.
Yeah, I agree. And I still feel like, I think Danielson obviously is, like, he's legendary, and I think the Iron Man stipulation is really, like, his ability to, like, really kind of showcase something that, very few I think can pull off, and I don't recall the last time I've seen a Bryan Danielson Iron Man match. Did he ever have one in the WWE?
In WWE, I mean, he did that Rumble where he lasted the length, but
to me,
Iron
like,
Man match
that
itself,
this to me is the hook, is to see, like, Bryan Danielson and MJF wrestle for an hour. But as a character, like, I still wonder if he truly fits in an AEW type of storytelling when promos are really just so strong, up and down this card between, like, a Mox and a Kingston and an MJF. I don't know if Bryan has been at that level. Like, it's still one of his weaker aspects. Or maybe he just hasn't found the right character, because he's delivered great promos in the past. He did deliver a few great promos as a part of this feud, but it seems like it's a far cry from, like, obviously a Punk or even a Page, a level type of speaking role. Okay.
And this number last point is just this number will also show people if an Iron Man stipulation where you are advertising in advance, it's going an hour, if that's going to turn some people off. And if that's the difference between 120,000 buys and 145,000 buys, like, certainly you would think that a higher percentage of AEW viewers, that's a hook. But is there a 10% amount of those fans that you're telling... It's fine to go an hour, but I don't want to know in advance that this is going an hour.
I have to say, I feel like they've really understated that aspect in this entire build, Like, when we talk about, like, WrestleMania 12, so much of that was built on, like, Shawn just, like, working out.
Training videos.
Yeah, getting to good cardio shape. And this feud has been about a lot of things. Yes, the arm injury, I'm sure, is going to play into everything. But I think it's fine to get into, like, I enjoyed tonight's promo where he got psychologically into Bryan. But the thing you should be showcasing the most is, challenging whether or not Bryan can go an hour. And maybe that's what the arm story was supposed to be. But I almost forget that this is an Iron Man match. And I wonder if that could be, hammered home a bit more.